The following is rated not safe for work. It contains strong language, adult situations, and lots of spoilers. Discretion is advised.
In the criminal justice system, cinematic-based offenses are considered especially heinous. The dedicated attorneys who investigate these villainous films are members of an elite squad known as the Reels of Justice. These are their stories.
Order, please, order! The Reels of Justice is now in session. Judge Maynard Bangs presiding. Your eyes for the Honorable Judge Bangs.
Be seated. Quiet, jury. I heard that, Ryan. Welcome to the Reels of Justice. Today we are hearing the case of The People versus Barb Wire, a 1996 sci-fi action movie about a sexy nightclub owner who moonlights as a mercenary and becomes an unwilling resistance soldier when her freedom-fighting ex-boyfriend walks back into her life. For those of you unfamiliar with our court proceedings, we are here to determine if this film is guilty of being a bad movie. As always in this courtroom, films are to be considered excellent until proven awful, and the burden of proof lies upon the prosecution to prove beyond a shadow of a reasonable doubt that this film is guilty. Mr. Conor McGiffin, you are appearing on behalf of the prosecution. You may present your opening statement.
That I am, and thank you once again for inviting me here. And may I say, once again, that you all look very handsome today. I just want to put that in court.
Well, I did gain weight.
There's just more of you to love now, and I can't be happier. Ladies and gentlemen and non-binary of all sorts, we are here today to discuss the film Barb Wire. Now, you may think I'd be coming at this with a hit against something like the acting, for example, because it stars the ever-popular Pamela Anderson. But no, that is not actually one of the problems of this film. In fact, there is but one bad actor in this whole movie, and that's at the beginning when this guy makes this weird choice to be British and creepy when his daughter is American. Barb Wire saves, and then he's like, it's like we're setting up, maybe he's gonna do something, maybe he's not actually her father, but it turns out no, he is. That actor decided to make that choice one day. No, everybody else in the film is there to win. My issues with this movie lie in 3 points. 1, it cannot be taken seriously as an action thriller because it is too dumb and makes too many leaps of logic. 2, it cannot be enjoyed as a camp classic because the jokes are too dumb and the direction is too poor. And 3,
objection.
The entire time.
You can't make objections yet. You gotta wait.
I'm sorry, I'm not a judge's son.
You gotta know the rules, Yvonne.
You compliment his appearance first, and then you get to object.
Yes. And 3, the final point that I shall be making through the course of this proceeding. The entire time you are watching this film, there is another movie that you cannot stop thinking about, which is the cardinal sin of Barb Wire. Thank you. And may I say, just smashing it today in the looks department. Everybody around. Thanks so much.
Don't
Thank you, Mr. McGiffin.
I know how good I look.
We all do. Appearing on behalf of the defense is Miss Yvonne Freese. Please present your opening statement.
Well, your honors, I'm not going to come
There's only one
you.
judge, actually. The rest are jurors.
Well, everyone's equal here.
Wow,
We are
that's
all
good.
Yeah.
Overruled.
equal.
Move it over, Judge. I'm sitting next to you. Oh.
Judge and honorable jury, I will not come at you with flowery language like this hooligan. You see, I merely ask, would Barb Wire have succeeded? She is the answer to Chuck Norris. She is the female Chuck Norris. Do you like action? Do you like all sorts of bad guys? Do you kind of enjoy a almost spot on picture of the world of 2017? Then this movie is for you. You just don't even know how deep it gets, and I will get into that later. But don't you underestimate me, Conor McGiffin.
I am excited to share the field of legal battle with the Honorable Madam Freese.
Thank you, Madam Freese.
It's canon. It's canon.
Thank you, little Miss Freese.
You can
Mr. McGiffin.
Wait, what?
Monsieur McGiffin, you may present your first exhibit.
Doctor.
Okay, you could be a doctor. That's fine. That's it. No more doctors. Dr. Freese.
Dr. Freese.
Yes, you're welcome.
Feminism
Feminism is alive in this room.
Yes, it is.
Or Barb Wire, of course.
Yes.
Which is perfect. Thank you, Your Honor. So, my first point to be made about Barb Wire is that perhaps you are thinking it could be viewed through the lens of a serious action thriller. It uses,
Objection!
for example,
Is there such thing as, what did you say? I want to get your quote right.
a serious action thriller.
Serious
Yes.
action.
Yes.
Now, what is serious action? Because one could argue that serious action movies are nothing. It's not a thing because people just want to see explosions. They want to see unrealistic stunts.
I'm going to object to that objection.
Okay.
Okay.
Which is to say, a serious action thriller is successful if it keeps the audience guessing and in a state of anxiety while they are experiencing the explosions and the stunts, because we care about our lead character and we want to see them succeed in their goal. A serious action thriller like Die Hard, for example.
Oh, I don't know if that's a good example.
Keeps you on. It keeps you on your toes because it is one small town cop trying to succeed against all of these terrorists who are outclassing him at every move, and all he has is his wits and his shoeless feet, and he wins.
I failed to see,
silly.
like, just switch he with she and shoeless feet with leather attire, and that's Barb Wire. So,
well, I'm gonna get into why it fails.
Okay, let's hear
As
it.
I was saying, perhaps you could view this in the lens of a serious action film, in that one of the stakes of it that they decided to include and write. Someone had to write this down on at that point probably a really slow Mac. They didn't have Final Draft.
No.
They use the. Dang it!
Are you saying they had Final Draft in
I am
1996?
saying that this is all, what is it, hearsay? What is the
It could be, I think it's conjecture. Those are
Yeah,
kinds
you
of
can-
evidence.
You cannot prove this, Conor McGiffin.
Let me rephrase Dr. Freese.
Thank you, Conor McGiffin.
The film uses as a serious plot point for an explanation as to why the world is in the state that it is the use of a super AIDS virus. Very serious, very deadly, which has torn this world completely asunder. There are multiple scenes of death that surround this world, especially death of major characters, including the brother of our main character.
Yes.
The tension courses through every single interaction that every character has, except it super doesn't.
It's objection. That's not a word.
I think super doesn't. No, I'm gonna overrule that. Super doesn't is a word.
Dang it.
I would argue those are 2 words.
Yes, I would as well. Sustained.
Or a word in the
words.
contraction.
For example, we don't care when the brother is apprehended and murdered because even
you're
though he is a
heartless? Because you're heartless.
No, because the movie makes the decision to make that character, who has been shown to be wily this whole film, to make the stupid decision to walk into the base, the secret base that him and his friends are, and scream out for them. Hey, where is everybody? You are a military man who has been horrifically scarred by the enemy that you have previously shown to be smart against. But then all of a sudden, you just scream out for no reason. Hey guys, where is everybody? As if he is a Pollyanna looking around.
Look, he's blind. You failed to say that he is blind. So how else is he supposed to find people, Connor? How else? And he's supposed...
That's it. The only thing blind people could do is shout out into the darkness.
That is not what I meant.
All right, it's stricken from the record.
There are multiple ways for for espionage to occur for this character without exclaiming his identity and his friend's identity to the world. Next.
One second. I want any further rebuttals to that defense? Is this a serious film, you think?
It's serious in any way an action movie is serious. That is my argument.
So you think it wasn't intending to be serious, is what you're saying?
I think it's as serious as any of the Fast and the Furious movies.
Well, which one? They get sillier.
And any. Like, I contest that it is on the same playing ground as any Chuck Norris film. I think it goes up against that with number of bullets shot, number of explosions seen. So is it serious in action? Sure, if you think action movies are serious.
I would argue Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is a very serious action movie.
There you go, much better.
One that explores politics, love, loyalty, and uses the wire kung fu as a way to explore the relationships between characters. A very serious movie that has a lot of action. And I will concede there are plenty of Chuck Norris movies that are terrible. And I believe
I
might overrule that.
Belongs there.
Wow.
But my next point,
please proceed.
Trying to show that this movie cannot be taken as a serious action film, is the relationship between all the characters, which I will use the example of Pam Anderson and Boba Fett's relationship.
You used her full name, sir.
Pamela the Anderson.
Thank you.
And Tamora Morrison, also known in this film as Axel.
Boba Fett will suffice, I think.
Boba Fett, okay. From this point on, the prosecution shall be labeling the character Axel as another character, Boba Fett.
Wait, what? How does that work?
Because
he plays Boba Fett.
Very famous for playing Boba Fett.
Okay,
less famous for
Fair
Jango
enough. Fair enough. I thought you
It's
were
true.
making... Okay, as long as this won't interfere with the judge or jury's interpretation.
It might.
Yeah, exactly. So
Dr.
I'm
Freese.
objecting.
Dr. Freese, I am coming into this with a clear heart and the goodest
A
of
clear
faith.
heart. No, you are not. Don't lie to me. Conor McGiffin, I always knew you had a thing against leather, and now it's coming out.
I don't. I don't. Now,
All right.
the relationship between Boba Fett and Pamela Anderson. This is supposed to be a
Axel,
taut No, I won't.
you will.
Judge,
Defense. You can, if you would like to, pick a famous character played by Udo Kier to reference him by some other character name. You can do that.
Another part that is supposed to hold this film together is the supposed romantic tension between Tamora Morrison, aka Boba Fett, and Pamela Anderson. However,
I don't think the love storyline is a good storyline to grab onto in this movie. I think it is a secondary, if not tertiary, plot point.
Could you elaborate on why?
Because it is not necessarily about the love interest. So much movie happens prior. There's nothing that through line really takes us to, even going back to her past, where we find out who Axel is and why he's even in the film, is for like to get an idea that she is a veteran. So, and then when he comes back, he's just kind of like another player. He whether he's romantic or not is moot, in my opinion. It is not about the romance.
I would suggest that the romance is supposed to be one of the key figures because it is directly mirroring itself from the Casablanca plot point that it steals from.
Do you want it to be a romantic movie? If you want it to be, I suppose it could be. But through which lens are you watching it through, Conor McGiffin? Through what
a serious film which will take any chance it can to
serious films
switch
don't
up.
need romance, Conor.
What?
What? That's going to be a tough one to prove.
Dr. Freese, explain yourself.
Not all films have to deal with romance.
Well, this one does, because the
No,
characters.
I don't
Sustained.
think so. I do not think so. I think it is not an important plot point.
It is the tension point to see if Pamela Anderson's character will help the doctor who Tamora Morrison is with, or if she will steal Tamora Morrison away from the doctor and be with herself because she's turned away from a life of do-gooding in order to pursue a life of capitalist intentions and singular motivation.
Objection! I do not view her as turning away from being a do-gooder. She is making her way in a very corrupt world. She is actually doing good, just furthering. She's a business owner. It's not like she's going out and killing people just willy-nilly. She's like murdering people to get like their kid back. Or like she's basically Batman. Okay? You heard it here. I would
absolutely
say
not.
Objection
to that.
Batman. The current Batman. She is Pamela Anderson.
Well, she goes
Batman.
out at night. She wears a lot of leather.
Yeah. There's a
Batman is lawful good. Barb Wire is true neutral. She is only in it for herself because of her experience in the war, which motivates her to turn from fighting for a just cause to only looking after herself and her brother monetarily. The only reason she shaved that girl at the beginning was because her parents paid her. And if she was good, she would have been okay with the parents not paying full instead of stealing their car.
Okay, but Barb Wire's got to eat. Girl's got to eat. She's got to run her business. Okay, it's not like she can just go running around doing good all the time like Batman, who's got like a fortune that his parents left him.
True, but that doesn't help her being good.
Yeah, it does. She's done so much good. She helps everyone except the bad guys. This is statistics.
Okay. All right. Well,
Your Honor, you have lost control of this courtroom.
I thought it was an interesting discussion. I would like to hear the jury's thoughts on what D&D alignment that Barb Wire might be later. I have a feeling we will hear something about it. But if you'd like to continue with your point.
Chaotic good.
I would listen to Chaotic Good. I would listen to Chaotic Good.
Yes, chaotic good. Period.
That man's not lawful good, though.
Yeah, yeah, he is. But that's a conversation for another time.
It's true.
Lawful neutral.
He's lawful chaotic good. Just smush them together. My final point in this particular argument is that there are too many leaps of logic to truly take this, if you were to, in a serious motion. Number one, how did Barb Wire know to seduce the sweaty gimp man that lived next door to Krebs? That is never explained or expounded upon. It is just a twist. A twist for what benefit? No benefit other than to be a twist. Two, why was Seattle so important? Sorry, Dr. Freese objected. Go ahead.
Thank you, Conor McGiffin, for hearing my objection. What did you just say?
All right, I'm not listening to that objection.
Okay. Number two, we never know why Seattle is so important and led to the breakup of Boba Fett and Pamela Anderson. What were the stakes? There are no stakes. Number three, if Steel Harbor is the last free city, why are the American Nazis allowed to encroach on the bar and the town itself? This isn't a Casablanca situation where it's Vichy France, where Germany has access because of their control over France. No, it is specifically said in the text scroll and immediately after in Pamela Anderson's voiceover, which again is another showing that this is a bad movie that has a text scroll and an immediate voiceover saying exactly what the text scroll said. Why is this free city letting the American Nazis in? They would have every right to just blast them away or say, like, you have no jurisdiction here. This is Switzerland. You can't come in here without documentation, blah, 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 governmental stuff.
Objection.
Dr.
They
Freese?
do have governmental stuff. The last free city, just because you're not being governed by a certain, as you put it, American Nazi, does not mean that you can just prevent them from coming in most cases, unless that state is also on a severe lockdown.
Are you suggesting the American Nazis are being unfairly labeled here?
No. They definitely look exactly like that. I have no better word for them. My objection is that the free state, meaning that it's not governed by them currently. However, you cannot just prevent them from coming in. You can't.
Okay.
Like, that has never worked in the history of ever, except for, like, North Korea, which we are not in. Just to let you know.
Mr. McGiffin, you're going to continue on your points.
I would argue that it would be there would be much more rigmarole for that government to go through in order to work with the government of the free state. However, I will concede that in the face of a giant power, the free city probably didn't have too much choice. That I will concede. Absolutely.
Thank you.
But my final point, the
boy.
final moment of this film, the entire plot surrounds the passage of these contact lenses that are to be used to get anybody out of America. They are desperate. Everyone is desperate for these contact lenses, to the point where the doctor is risking her whole life and her husband's life to flee. Her husband, by the way, who is a world-famous soldier and freedom fighter, who is also being chased by the jackboot Americans.
Objection! How do we know he is a world famous? That's never established. That's a
Your Honor,
stretch.
may I rephrase? May I
Stretch, Your
may I
Honor.
rephrase?
Yeah.
Yes.
She is married to a man who the government has very big interest in because of his past as a freedom fighter and his relationship to the doctor.
So the American Nazis would know him.
The American Nazis would know him, and in fact, they have photos of him at the beginning from the bikini torture device that, for some reason, is featured in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
So, the doctor finally gets these contacts after millions of dollars are used to explode things. Big Fatso dies in the bed of his bulldozer.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Big Fatso. And they finally get to the airport. She puts on the contacts and she is free. Yes, she gets set free. And then her husband, who at no point of the film has been shown to have any kind of clearance, because again, he is an outlaw who is married to one of the biggest outlaws in the world, in the country, does the same scanning thing and is let into the plane. How is that allowed? We just spent the whole movie searching for these contact lenses to get this one person out, and another person who has maybe just a little bit less of a criminal record, according to the American Nazis, gets free onto the plane? Why? Why do that? Why not just have two pairs of contacts so that Pamela can get one and he can get one and they can live in Canada together forever? No.
This proves that Pamela Anderson's character is good, right? She's doing the good thing. And
that does, at the end.
He does not have the worst criminal record.
But they were looking for him.
But he's not the focus. It's the doctor.
He's not the focus, but he would have a criminal record because they were looking for him.
Yeah, but also, they mostly were looking for her.
He was in the pictures with her.
You just need to take a step back and be like, I'm going to check myself. I'm going to check myself on why I'm so upset. And I'm so upset that both the hero and the hero doctor who's trying to escape are women, and they pass the backdoor pass.
Whoa. Your Honor, Dr. Freese is accusing me of salacious sexism. That is false. Absolutely false.
Is it?
Well, that is fair. We won't tolerate petty name calling unless it's among the jury. So then I will overrule the claim of sexism. How about that? Is that cool? I don't know what I do here. I'm gonna rock in a hard place here.
So that is the conclusion.
Any final points to make, Mr. McGiffin, before you rest?
That is the conclusion of my first point.
That's the first point.
Yeah, that's the first point.
All right, we'll have to move these next couple points along.
Okay.
Oh my god.
All right. Yes. Second point. It can't be enjoyed as a camp classic because the jokes aren't funny. The first joke that's said when Barb has finished her performance and she's en route to save the girl from the meat freezer is that the stripper who there are two other strippers there. One of them speaks to Barb in a French dialect, and then the other stripper says, "She's speaking Chinese." What the fuck, movie? That's not funny. It's like a dumb joke for the stripper because the Asian woman spoke in a different language, and it was like, "Oh look, she's speaking a language we didn't expect her to speak." We're 90s and we're ironic, right?
I mean, you gotta acknowledge that Alanis was popular at the time. Continue.
It's true. I will concede. That for sure. Second, the movie is constantly blacking out. It ends the forward momentum.
Let's back up. Objection. The whole premise that the jokes are not funny. Comedy is not objective. You cannot just blatantly oversay, because the next joke was, "How is the audience tonight?" And she says, "Wet," because she just did a water number, and that's pretty good. Like, you got to get the hair flip in there, and she says, "Wet." and we see her like that's good comedy right there.
I will sustain that comedy is subjective, and so it's hard to prove that there is bad comedy necessarily.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
I would
Your Honor.
argue that it wasn't funny because I didn't laugh once.
It's noted. The jury will take that into consideration, and whether the jury laughed or not will probably weigh heavily into this one.
Conor McGiffin,
Let's move on to your next point, Mr. McGiffin.
I've never not known you to laugh.
That is a lie.
That is a
Okay.
lie.
The final section here. Oh, so the director decides and the editors decide to take multiple scenes and crash them to a screeching halt with either a blackout or a fade out. Nothing kills comedy like a slow blackout of a scene slowly dying. Finally, the whole film, Pamela Anderson has this bit where if you call her babe, your ass is grass. It's set up and followed through for the rest of the film, and it's waiting for that final moment. The bad guy's gotta call her babe and then set her off so that she exacts her vengeance. This whole time, the American Nazi is just dogging her and ruining her business, and she has this chance if the writers set it up. But what do the writers do? The bad guy is stuck in a piece of construction equipment, and he says, "This reminds me of my favorite song, I Got You, Babe." What? How does that have anything to do with anything in that moment other than to be a cheap way for her to say, "You called me babe"? Not really. I mean, is he saying the car has got him that he's trapped in? Is he saying she's got him because she put him there? And also, we have never seen this character, the bad guy, show any affinity for any music. It comes out of nowhere. We don't even know if it's in the same universe as Cher. And then all of a sudden, oops, it's there.
Because
Dr. Freese?
Conor, yeah, because as you so stated, that it is a bit camp. You can't deny that it is action, camp, and comedy. It's camp comedy.
But
You
camp
gotta
has
throw
to have
Cher
a
in
logic
there.
of itself. It has to have an internal logic for the jokes to make sense.
It
For him
knows
to
what
just
it's
spout
doing.
that makes no
But
sense.
How lame would it be? It's a twist in the fact that how lame would it be if he would have been something like just called her babe? Like we've already seen that happen, and the guy got thrown through the window. So like we had to shake it up a bit.
Okay, it's a bad setup and a punchline. I think the jury has something to chew on there. Let's move on to your next point, Mr. McGiffin.
My final point, and I promise this is my final point. Good Lord, I'm so sorry. Judge, jury, and Dr. Freese, I'm so sorry. You spend the entire time watching this movie being reminded of another movie, a movie that has come up in conversation already. That movie, Mrs. Doubtfire. It's Casablanca. If you are going to make an adaptation of a comic book and make some changes, for example, removing the aliens from the original series and removing the superhumans from the original series, you better have a good reason for making adaptations. What's not a good reason is adapting an already good movie, some might say one of the best films ever made, and repurposing it in your crappy sex fantasy film. Because the entire time you are watching Barb Wire, you cannot stop thinking about Casablanca. You look at the relationships of the characters. You look at Clint Howard as Schmitz, and you're like, which character is he playing? Is he playing the Peter Lorre part? Big Fatso, he's obviously playing Sidney Greenstreet. And then you can't stop then comparing the plot points within the movie to the plot points of Casablanca and the actors themselves, which is not fair to the actors in Barb Wire. You have just wasted your entire budget remaking one of the best movies in the world just so that you can see Pamela Anderson in leather. It's the same plot.
Yeah, that's going to be a hard one to prove. I'm going to overrule that one. This is absolutely an intentional Casablanca remake. Yeah, it is. For sure.
In their review, Siskel and Ebert made the point that this movie is exactly the same as Casablanca, and Ebert was having fun making the comparisons. Meanwhile, Siskel couldn't be bothered. He hated the whole thing. But
Well,
the problem with adapting good material is you're distracted by how good the material was in that previous picture, and you're also disappointed in the way the material is handled in this new picture. There is no tension, for example, between the Humphrey Bogart character, who is Pam Anderson, and the Ingrid Bergman character, which is Tamora Morrison, because they kiss on their second meeting of each other. The whole movie of Casablanca, it's a will they, won't they? Will she give up her political and aspirations for love? Will he turn and do good, or will he sit back on his laurels and maintain this neutral position? That's the whole crux of it, which they stole and then got rid of.
From a female's eyes. And also, again, I would like to reiterate how not important the romance is in this movie. Would like that to be on the record.
All right, I'll let you elaborate that on that in when you present your exhibits. But Mr. McGiffin, are you arresting?
The defense is not who I am. I am the prosecution. The prosecution sweatily rests, Your Honor.
Sweatily. All right, great. Dr. Freese, you may now present your first exhibit.
Happen.
Your Honor. Never mind.
We'll find them later on the Insta. Dr. Freese, you may present your first exhibit.
My first exhibit I would like to draw attention to that this movie does indeed pass the Bechdel test. It has several leading women who have conversations that aren't about men. And I think that is a very valuable thing, even though there is a man present in a lot of things. But it does pass the Bechdel test, which is something. Point number 2. Oh, wow. Thank you, Conor.
I love how she's rapid firing. You see, Mr. McGiffin, you could really learn something.
Point number 2. It really shows the weaknesses of men in general. It shows the uncomfortability from watching this movie comes from, are you comfortable watching a woman in charge take charge of her own business, of like crime? She's leading it all while in frickin' heels and leather and like she's frickin' decked out and put together. Those extensions aren't falling out. Like that girl is put together and she's doing all this shit, taking down bad guys and like making money all while being completely put together. Come on. Like that's something.
Objection.
What?
Yes.
My objection is that a film like Atomic Blonde was able to pull off it while having a personality of its own, while Barb Wire, the character of Barb Wire and the actress Pamela Anderson deserved a better vehicle than what was given to us.
She had a motorcycle.
And a convertible. And that army thing. She had many vehicles, Conor.
Yeah, you know what? You're absolutely right. She had a garage full of them. Never mind.
Yes, that's right. Like
and she rode it in heels. So try that.
Yes. Okay. Yes. If we could go out into the world like in real judge, I don't know what it's called, but like when you actually go out and do the thing. If I put
Court?
you on
Adjourned.
high heels and a leather jacket, you'd feel pretty badass too. So I'm just saying it's a badass look that is well executed, and the uncomfortability comes from how easily she is able to manipulate all of the men into doing basically whatever she wants, and being a way better shot. She is like, unlike many action movies, moving on to my next point, she actually is a very good shot, most often killing everybody, and everybody else is a bad shot. Like,
Objection. I would raise that there are many action movies where our lead protagonist is an excellent shot, whereas everybody in that they are shooting at are terrible shots, i.e. Star Wars, Die Hard 2.
But
I'll
I would
sustain
argue
that.
there's less huge what is it called? Like firing ranges. I don't know terms.
Shootout?
Like, shootouts. Yeah.
Yes.
Like the shootouts are less like there's less bullets per I don't know second.
Okay.
Because she is such a good shot. So we don't have all of like this. There's a huge thing of just everybody shooting all at once, and then we cut to okay, the good guys got everybody. No, we see right away that Barb Wire is taking them out right away. So,
All right.
pro.
Moving. Did you like to present your next point?
My next point. What have I all hit here? Basically, I just think that of its time, it was the female-led action movie that everybody needed, and its success was greatly diminished by an outside personal event that happened to Pamela, and that inhibited its success. It had nothing to do with the quality of the movie or the content of the movie.
And this was the sex tape that was stolen.
Yes, the stolen sex tape. Yeah.
That was,
Had it
Black
not
Mark.
happened, had it not happened, who knows? Because she should be right up there. I mean, also shout out to Dark Horse Comics, who we love dearly.
Yes, we do. I
They
don't have an
deserve the
objection. I have a
series.
support of that.
Yeah, they deserved a series. Barb Wire deserved a series to get into. We could have an actual discussion of, is she good or bad? We don't get that just from one film, right? We get like flavors and touches, but it definitely lends itself to be a series and not just a solitary movie.
Yeah, you hear that, Dark Horse?
Yeah.
And Netflix.
And
My only objection to this point, and I do have one, is that I do
of
not
course you
believe.
do.
Please, Mr. McGiffin was about to defend stealing sex tapes. Please, Mr. McGiffin, continue.
Listen, you gotta make money somehow.
Oh,
No, I have no defense for the despicable actions that.
Oh wait, say that
Pamela
again,
and...
Connor. You have to make money somehow.
No, I was kidding, Your Honor. I was kidding. I was being
The court
fallacious.
recognized it was facetious. It was facetious.
I would argue not that the actions that were perpetrated against Pamela were disgusting. I feel as if this film did not serve her because it could have given her so much more, but it failed her in its shortcomings.
Dr. Freese?
I think again, I cannot reiterate enough that the uncomfortability factor in this movie is that some people will say that they played on like the sexy topic too much. But again, it is like a foil to how easily like she's just able to fool all these men, all these just
American
by simply
Nazis.
just by simply existing, right? So like I think that's an interesting item of a topic to get into.
No, I agree. Do you have any further points before you rest?
No, I can rest. I feel
Alright.
pretty confident in that this is a completely feminist movie that was way before its time and deserves to be put into a series. I rest.
agree. Let's just see if those pigs in the jury agree or not. But
Yeah!
both sides have rested their cases. The attorneys will now present their closing arguments. Mr. McGiffin, you may begin.
I have spent way too long, so I will make this brief. I'm so sorry yet again, and all of you, thank you once again for being as handsome as you are.
Perfect, short and sweet.
You're
Dr.
welcome.
Freese, please present your closing argument.
Wow, I thought I would have more time to gather my thoughts. thank you to all my colleagues and honored jury people and judge for your time and hearing about the misunderstood wonder that is Barb Wire and all her trials and tribulations and her story deserve to be told. And I'm glad that is coming to light here today. Thank you.
Thank you both. Members of the jury, Mr. Dylan J. Schlender, Mr. Big Ben Haslar, and Mr. Don't Call Me Babe, Ryan Luis Rodriguez. You have all heard the facts concerning this case. It is now up to you to determine if this film is guilty of being a bad movie. The bailiff will escort you to the deliberation room to render your verdict.
I have an aunt named Barb Wire. Barbed Wire McCallahan. Nasty woman. She'd cut you 8 ways to Sunday for spitting out her turtle soup.
You can call me babe, though. I'm okay with that.
All right, thanks, babe.
All right, fun case, spirited case. I think we have the record for most objections
Have
ever
to
in
be.
any trial
Have to
that
be.
has ever happened.
And they were all sustained, every single one of them.
No, people object a lot, but they're not as polite. You were very polite. You said objection every time. That was very polite.
It's true. Babe, what did you think?
Well, this movie is not remotely sexy or exciting, which I think that's two dings in its direction in terms of what it probably should be striving for.
Right.
Pamela Anderson is not a movie star. I have no problem with her as a person. This is not a personal front. I don't see how she could tie a movie together. And unfortunately, this entire movie it relies on her to be able to fulfill that, and she just can't.
Right, yeah. If I'm going into the theater and I'm expecting something sexy, then I'm going to be disappointed. And if I go in expecting some sort of action thriller, similarly, I'm going to be disappointed.
Yeah, this is not in her wheelhouse.
Yeah, it's like she's so hot right now. We got to make this movie right now. It's like this is the time. This is her moment, and it does kind of feel like it falls a little flat of that. I think when you look at the case, I think Conor brought up some really good points, and I think a lot of it does boil down to whether you view this as the Casablanca remake thing being good or bad, whether you enjoy it or find it distracting.
Distracting.
Here's the thing. I've never actually seen Casablanca, so I couldn't say one way or the other. Yeah, no.
I know I'm getting you for your birthday.
Yeah. No, I mean, but like it's been in the zeitgeist so much. Yeah, I know exactly like what happens in it because it's been parodied and done to death in like cartoons and shows. Like The Critic and everything. So it's like I have a pretty good idea of what happened. Bogart finds a Maltese Falcon and he trades it for an airplane, and
then someone doubled his finger, and then
exactly right. So I'm sympathetic to why that could be distracting, but I guess if you're going into it like a dummy like me, it's not so bad.
I will say though that by having a gender flipped Casablanca, it's interesting because it suggests that Bogart and Claude Rains were fucking. And that's an interesting way of looking at Casablanca.
See, I'm sure that's very funny, but I've never seen Casablanca.
See? But it's in everything, Dylan. You it's in the zeitgeist.
Well, maybe, but
the big defense in this movie is that it sort of has like feminist overtones, like a little bit ahead of its time in that way, and that it passes the Bechdel test. Do you think that helps its defense at all?
No. I wish it did. I mean, it's great that it passes the Bechdel test. That's it's especially surprising considering that it was made in 1996. But does it?
Oh yeah, the dark ages of '96.
Does it ultimately help? No, not really.
The pre-final draft days.
You have any other thoughts, Dylan, on the movie?
So just to kind of echo what my number one babe Ryan always says, it's just if a movie like slips off the mind, you move away from it. I nothing with this movie really stuck with me. And when Conor was bringing up some of those plot points, it's like, why did he yell? Why not get more than one context? I'm like, oh yeah, that was all stupid. And then talking about like Big Fatso, and I'm like, I even forgot about him. It's like, oh yeah, I didn't even like that guy. So yeah, so I definitely got to say, where this movie was even in '96, I don't think I would have enjoyed it very much. And based on the strength of the case today, I'm definitely locking in guilty.
Locking it in.
Yes,
Ryan?
sir.
Well, I gotta say, this could not have been an easy case to defend, so I'm gonna go not guilty.
Cool. I got power this time. I love it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I hope you don't abuse it.
He will.
Like that one time, someone who will go unnamed voted Paddington as being worse than Shrek 2.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh.
What about that? Yeah. What about that bullshit?
Yeah, I am curious of what this is an adaptation. Like I haven't read the Barb Wire comics, so I don't know that it passes in that regard. It is a straight off adaptation of Casablanca, which I agree with everything Connor said, except for Batman being lawful good. That's not true. He's
No,
good.
Batman is lawful good. Lawful doesn't mean you just follow man's
He
law.
throws
You can
people
have
off
your own
rooftops, Dylan.
He
That's at
follows
least
his
neutral.
own code, so he's lawful good.
Oh, so he is the law. He is the Senate, is what your defense is.
No, but if you have your own moral code that you follow, that lets you be lawful in the D&D rules.
He's
lawful good.
We'll take it offline.
You're a
He's
bunch
We'll
of
take it offline.
nerds.
Argue with them.
I am
Nerds.
siding with the prosecution on this one. This is a
Nerds.
guilty film. So let's go tell that very handsome judge.
Mr. Foreman, have you reached a verdict?
We have, Your Honor. In the case of the People versus Barb Wire, we find the defendant guilty of being a bad movie.
Boo!
The verdict is so rendered. I hereby sentence Barb Wire to 10 years of being blindfolded and forced to listen to episodes of Baywatch on repeat.
Whoa.
I very
is-
severe, I know. Probably the
I
worst one we've
still
ever
love
passed down.
that.
Wow.
And I'm also stating that Batman is lawful neutral. Court is adjourned.
Lies and deceit.
James Bond is lawful neutral. Batman is lawful good. You guys are crazy. Speaking of Batman, I'm here outside
Oh boy.
the Reels of Justice because I love justice because I'm
Wait, you're
fucking
not
lawful
you're
good.
not Batman though. You're intellectually distinct, right?
No, it's like baseball bats.
I don't know if that counts. I don't know if that's gonna count, but
I'm gonna go with it.
let's just say you're intellectually distinct and you'll be okay.
I am intellectually distinct.
Thank you.
Conor McGiffin. Justice was done today.
Oh,
One might
God.
say you were lawful good.
Oh.
Just like me, Batman, but like baseball bats. What are your thoughts on today?
Your face is upsettingly shaped cylindrically. I cannot stop staring at it, but I will try. Dr. Freese is a very worthy opponent, and I was very happy to discuss the merits of this film across from her. That being said, justice was served today, and I would argue that however, that the actress Pamela Anderson deserved a better vehicle, especially at this particular zenith in her career. But that being said, Barb Wire was beneath her, and even if the comic book wasn't, this film adaptation of the comic book, which also had aliens and super mutants, by the way, which would have been very cool to show, didn't have.
Thank you. Dr. Freeze, my arch enemy, is what the other Batman would say. But I am the baseball bat Batman. So what are your thoughts on today's verdict?
I'm disappointed. I thought that in the year of our Lord 2022 we would finally get justice, Pamela Anderson, and have a role that I know she really looked forward to doing, be seen by public eyes and in a positive light, and that is not what I failed her today, and I will carry that heavily with me for the rest of my life. It's a cross I will bear.
I understand.
my
I saw my parents get pummeled with baseballs. Now, back to the studio for post-trial analysis.
Intellectually distinct.
I can't believe Batman but baseball bats hasn't been done yet. That is so good. I love that.
Well, there you go.
No, guys, it's Batsman, please.
Yeah.
Perfect. And his enemy, the pitcher.
His internal struggle is whether he's corked or not.
But that was a great trial.
That was awesome.
I do actually got to admit, I forgot. Yes. This is our season finale. I know I kind of buried the lead here.
Whoa.
This is our season finale. This is the season finale of season 2. Just so no pressure. I didn't want to put pressure on you in the beginning, but you know. But you guys met it anyway.
So now you get retroactive pressure.
Exactly. Season 2 finale. So
now I feel like we need to redo it 7 times.
Yeah. Thanks for giving us existential dread.
Yeah. So this was a great rehearsal. Let's take it from the top.
Oh man, my roommate's gonna hate me.
Maybe then Connor won't hear my fork clanking.
Listen,
but what have you guys been up to? You've been busy on any specific kind of project or anything big going on
that we may have heard of?
I can't think of anything. Yvonne, what do you got going on?
But like, are we like besides MST3K stuff?
No,
you're right.
That was the joke.
Oh. Hey, wait, that's you guys? That's good.
Besides our gig with that, our new season keeps rolling out, which is really exciting.
It's very cool. It's on the Gizmoplex, a new streaming app that's available today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hashtag see you in the Gizmoplex.
See you in the Gizmoplex.
And I know there's 2 teams, and then you guys are with a friend of the show, Emily's, Emily Marsh's. So, and you guys are her squad.
We are.
We are.
Connor, you're Tom. Some would say the second greatest Tom of all time. Let's just say some people said it.
That is high
First
praise.
to the Tom.
Oh boy, too much praise.
And Yvonne, you're GPC.
I am.
And you're is it Super Mega Cynthia? just Mega Cynthia.
No, I like Super Mega Cynthia.
Super Mega Cynthia is coming.
Well,
I know we want Mini Mega Cynthia, right? Kelsey.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Kelsey said she had
Mini Mega Cynthia.
She was Mini Mega Cynthia, apparently.
Just normal Cynthia.
Mini Cynthia?
No, because she looks more like Mega Cynthia according to her.
So she's just regular sized.
She's just regular sized.
But you can already check out Beyond Atlantis was the first episode you guys did as a squad. Not the first in the season, but the first with the Emily team, and then recently Munchie dropped, and the buzz is that Munchie is the Batman of MST3K episodes. Gotten a lot of praise.
Gotten a lot of heat,
very much. A lot of traction.
And then
this whole season's been good so far, though. It feels like a return to like joke telling wise. I love the timing you guys have.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thanks very much. We got a chance to write on this one, and that's why it's so good.
Oh, there it is, and it's that Tim Ryder behind the camera too.
Oh my God, that tall drink of tall drink of iced coffee, Tim Ryder.
Tim Ryder.
Great way to
Jonah.
Jonah, yep.
Yeah, he directed all of our episodes.
Nice.
And he was so great. He was such a great.
So dreamy, right?
So dreamy.
so
funny.
And attractive.
Also, so tall.
That he is, him and Tim Ryder. It's a whole secret thing. That's what success is. But June 10th will be Dr. Mordred. Will be the premiere of that. So that should be like tomorrow, as far as this being released. Nudge, nudge, Ryan. So that'll be tomorrow, Ryan. And then you'll have Demon Squad on the 24th, and then I'm really looking forward to Gamera versus Jiger on the 22nd. Because I love Gamera in general. So, but MST3K does make Gamera even better.
Well, Gamera is friend to children.
And he's really neat.
He's filled
Hear
with
that you're a
turtle meat.
child.
Made of turtle meat. So we're definitely looking forward to that. Again, you can check out the Gizmoplex. I believe if you're actually trying to download the app on whatever you have, Roku, Fire TV, it's under Mystery Science Theater 3000. So look for it under that way, and that's the easy way to download it. Now, we always ask our guests for a recommendation of a movie that you think people should see. Connor, since you were the victor today, you can go first. What is a movie people should check out?
Oh, I have been redeemed since Emily unfairly won last time I was here. I can't stop thinking about this movie. I saw Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I understand that it's been recommended before on this fine program.
Because you're a fan and listen to every episode. That's how you know.
Yes, that's how I know.
We're going to edit Ryan out, though, from that previous episode. So
Yeah, that's
all
a
yours.
previous episode that's already aired.
No, bring it
Well,
back.
people will go back and
Put it back in the
and
vault.
wonder.
But here's the
Right,
final
go in
first
the-
legitimate recommendation of this movie. From
If you sign up for the Patreon, you can hear Ryan's recommendation of it.
We don't have a Patreon. I'm not getting a Patreon. It's too much work.
Oh man, but I can't recommend it. I can't recommend it enough because we saw it on the weekend after Mother's Day. I saw it with my family, and it's kind of it's the perfect Mother's Day film.
Oh, you have a family, Con.
Humble brag, I know. Guys, don't
Your
worry
dad doesn't
about
forget
it.
to call you on your birthday? What?
Oh my god.
Yeah, I just watched it this weekend, Everything Everywhere All at Once. And it was pretty great. Came highly recommended previously, but
Yeah, I haven't been able to see it yet. I've
now
been
double
too busy.
recommended.
It's gonna
I've been working too many baseball games.
And that's it. With
All
Batman.
my evenings. I'm taking that. I'm
Yes.
taking that to the Minnesota Saints, to the St. Paul Saints.
Yes. And
You hear
if
that, Bill Murray?
and if
you're
DC
listening?
gives you any
That
shit,
is coming.
just start screaming intellectually distinct until they go away. That's what we do.
They will?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Intellectually distinct.
I think so.
That works. But great recommendation. Yvonne, what is your recommendation? What is a movie people should check out?
Like a new movie?
No, any movie, your favorite movie, any movie.
Okay.
Just something people should see if they haven't seen it.
All right. Well, if you haven't
Or should
seen
see
it,
again.
or if you have seen it, you should definitely watch it again. A Mighty Wind, the mockumentary, A Mighty Wind.
Yes.
It's Christopher Guest's documentary style comedy. It's just so brilliant about like the folk music industry. And if you don't know anything about folk music, that's fine too. It's just a delight. It's a nice little escape.
I love it. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more, Dr. Freese.
Thank you.
Yeah, it is
We agree
very
on
funny.
something. For
It's
what? Mr. Conor McGiffin.
The love is back.
My next thesis for the next half an hour will be telling you why Dr. Freese is a bad person. Point number 1, subsection A.
Objection.
Objection.
Actually,
Let's see.
I'd really like to hear this. Continue.
We got to go to a sponsor. A quick sponsor.
I was the judge this evening, so I'll go next. So my recommendation is another sci-fi film from around the same time, featuring a blonde femme fatale who's as diddly as she is sexy. 1995 Species. A genetically engineered extraterrestrial human hybrid breaks loose from the lab where she was created and goes on a killing spree in Los Angeles, trying to find a man she can mate with. I've been there, sister. Considering she's played by Natasha Henstridge, it should take all of 5 minutes, but a band of scientists and mercenaries are fast on their heels, trying to commit the most important cockblock in human history. It has a stellar cast: Ben Kingsley, Michael Madsen, Alfred Molino, Forrest Whitaker. The design of Syl, the alien, is great, as it should be, considering it was done by H.R. Geiger, and well executed when it's done practically. The CGI of 1995 was not quite up to snuff. If you want to check it out, Species is currently streaming on Tubi, Pluto TV, the Roku channel. Hell, it's even free on YouTube. They want to give you this movie, so go ahead and let them.
So go ahead.
Yep. We will send it to Babe, Rye Guy. What is your recommendation?
I couldn't think of anything I wanted to talk about in reference to Barb Wire, aside from the film that it killed over at Gramercy Pictures, a little masterpiece called Mystery Science Theater 3000, the movie, but that's too obvious. So instead, I will pivot and recommend one of the great cinematic series, Satyajit Ray's Apu trilogy, specifically the first installment, 1955's Pather Panchali. It follows a young Bengali youth as he comes of age and grapples with life in his Indian village in the early half of the 20th century. Ray was known for taking inspiration from Italian neorealism, injected with a painterly sense of composition, and his films are deeply emotionally resonant and truly breathtaking to behold, especially given his scenic Indian backdrops. Pather Panchali and the entire Apu trilogy are currently streaming on the Criterion Channel, HBO Max, and Canopy. Support your local library.
No, I thought they canceled Apu.
Oh,
That's what I have to do. After Ryan's flowery, high thought language, I have to bring us back down into the dirt where we reside every day. Big Ben, what have you got for us?
Speaking of rolling in the dirt, my recommendation might feel a little guilty pleasure-esque, but when trying to think up a film that featured a sexy as hell female protagonist dressed in black leather, but not demeaning towards women, Kate Beckinsale in Underworld is what kept coming to my mind. It holds up very well. It has a love for The Matrix, which is impossible to hide, and I'm pretty sure every frame of this thing was run through a blue filter, but the world presented here is one that I can't help but get involved in. Vampires and werewolves fighting each other in a very modern setting with ultraviolet and silver nitrate bullets just spells cool. Celine doesn't feel insulting, at least not to my admittedly very male eye. The character couldn't have been replaced with a male version and have it play out the same way. Bill Nighy and Michael Sheen also make the film very fun by chewing up just the right amount of scenery. And the vision Len Wiseman is going for feels complete from the film's start to the film's end. It is streaming on HBO Max, but not Canopy. But still support your local library.
Is Bill Nighy our second most recommended actor? Obviously, first is Charles Bronson. But is Nighy number 2? He's in a lot of the movies.
You can crunch it on Letterboxd, where you can also find our recommendations of Justice list. And while you're at it, give me a follow and my friend Ryan as well.
Hey, all right. And now there's a plug.
Schlenzo D, send us on home.
I would love to. In keeping with our rather Rubenesque theme tonight, I'm recommending the animated classic Fire and Ice. Notorious director Ralph Bakshi teamed up with legendary fantasy illustrator Frank Frazetta to bring us an adventure full of magic, action, and of course, the aforementioned full-figured beauties. I can't sit here and tell you the story is tight or it's particularly well acted, but face it, you're here for the visuals, so enjoy them.
This episode is not going to pass the Bechdel test, is it?
Well, yeah, it might.
Well, we did talk about passing the Bechdel test, so doesn't that mean we technically passed it?
No. Thank you.
There's only one woman here, so
that is true.
I'm going to say an overwhelmingly no.
And she kept talking about boys the whole time anyway.
All right, we are all at a show. Maybe this is the season finale, maybe the finale of the whole show.
Series finale.
Series finale. But we are all at a show. But we do want to thank our guests, Conor and Yvonne, for joining us. Thank you so much, both of you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
We hope to have you back soon, and we're going to check out the Gizmoplex. Everyone out there, if you haven't already gotten it, check it out and enjoy. And
it's such good schlock, you guys. Really, you're gonna help us out a lot. Just please, please. We want season 14.
We all do.
We need a job.
Conor needs to eat.
We're gonna have to move in together.
Which would be hilarious and fun, but not financially great.
Maybe then we get a documentary team to come in and film us living together.
Oh my god, that's a great idea.
Bus.
Do not download the Gizmoplex. Let us do this instead.
No.
Wait, what is it?
It's too late.
Oh, you're right. Sorry.
This goes out live. I'm so sorry.
Oh no!
Very few podcasts go out live.
It's just my mom who's listening, so it's cool.
But we hope everyone else will join us as well next season, where we hope we're still here as the Reels of Justice keep turning.
Count it.
Finale.
Dun, dun, dun.
Please follow us on Twitter at Reels of Justice, Instagram Reels of Justice, and Facebook.com/Reels of Justice.